My name is Chapman Harrison. Ngati Tara was my hapu. I'm a public servant with the Ministry of Child, Youth and Family. Kia ora.
And do you confirm that you have filed a brief of evidence dated the 22nd of August?
I do. I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
May it please the tribunal. My name is Chapman Harrison, but I'm also known as Chappie Harrison. I was given responsibility to my hapu of the filing Ngati Tara's treaty claim Y2000. It is in support of the Paraparai and the Ngati Tara hapu. I've been appointed as representative of Ngati Tara hapu as I am direct descendant of Reihana Kiriwi and have spent much of my life as a kaikōrero of our hapu, culminating in my role as the present chairperson of the Parapara Marae Committee. I've been chairperson of the Parapara Marae Committee for the last 4 years. I whakapapa to Ngati Tara through my father, who is the Reverend Jim Harrison. We trace our lineage through to our ki tupuna, Reihana Kiriwi, and important rangatira in his day. Parapara Marae Committee and the development of Y2000, Parapara Marae hold monthly Marae Committee hui to discuss Marae and hapu related issues. The regular hui have been held for some years now and are widely notified. They advertise on the Parapara Marae website and on our Facebook page as well. The Marae Committee elects its members as annual general meeting and most members attend the monthly hui on a regular basis. The Marae Committee hui are open to Marae beneficiaries and affiliate hapu members. At the meeting on the 26th of March 2012, committee members affirmed their lack of support for Te Runanga o Ngati Kahu. And they confirmed support for the Ngati Tara application to the Waitangi Tribunal. Ngati Tara hold regular community events and all hapu members are encouraged to attend. Those who are not registered beneficiaries but who can affiliate to Ngati Tara hapu are also invited to these events. Parapara Marae has never supported Te Runanga a iwi o Ngati Kahu. They do not represent our Ngati Tara voice and interests, and this is why we do not support them. Ngati Tara have real interest in Rangiputa Station and our resumable properties within our traditional rohe. The full extent of these interests will never be agreed to by Te Runanga. We have our major concerns with this as our rights are being trampled on. That said, we acknowledge that we are not the only hapu with rights and interests in Rangiputa. Again, we are not the only hapu who have the rights and interests in Rangiputa, including Te Patu, Rorohuri, Patukuraha, Whānau Moana, and we encourage these hapu to do what we are trying to do with our application to the tribunal and willing to help them in any way that we can. We are also concerned about our real interest in Rangiputa being ignored by the Runanga, but that we decide to file a claim to Rangiputa. Discussions began in March 2008 about this concern and has culminated in the treaty claim that I filed in August 2008. A summary of the Ngati Tara hapu application for resumption of Crown-owned lands is as follows. Prior to the sale of the Puheke block of the Crown, our tupuna held mana whenua over Puheke, relied heavily on the land for daily subsistence, for burying our dead, and for many of our other purposes. The Crown purchased the Puheke block without properly surveying the land area, and so 16,000 acres was sold as opposed to the agreed 6,000 acres. The Muriwhena Land Report was released in 1997, and it was found that there were clear breaches of the Treaty of Waitangi in regard to the sale of Puheke. The Puheke block is known commonly as Rangiputa Station. It is currently a farm that is owned by Landcorp Holdings Limited. The Puheke block is subject to an application for resumption by the Runanga pursuant of Section 8A of the Treaty of Waitangi Act 1975. The Runanga intends to resume the land as part of the settlement package. The Runanga acknowledges and recognises that Ngati Tara have interest in Rangiputa, but the Runanga opposes Ngati Tara having an actual and real interest. The tribunal should recommend that Rangiputa be returned to whānau hapu that lost the land by way of Crown foul means, and we do not support the Runanga as the mandate authority to handle out historical claim settlements. So if the Crown goes ahead and settles the historical claims in this manner, Ngati Tara will continue to suffer for generations to come. We have received much support for our claim from our local and neighbouring whānau and hapu. I refer to the boundary map contained in the Ngati Kahu deed of partial settlement at the page 166, which is contained in your bundle at page 11. This map outlines the Ngati Tara boundary and the Ngati Kahu deed of partial settlement. Ngati Tara was not consulted about the Ngati Kahu map, and it is incorrect. Representative capacity. The Kareponia Marae Committee has given their support to the filing of Y2000 treaty claim. They have also given their support to me as the Ngati Tara representative. We have always acknowledged our close association to Te Pātu, our neighbouring hapu. Te Pātu representatives have given their support to Kareponia Marae and our treaty claim. Registration of support. Our Ngati Tara hapu members have signed hapu registration forms that express support for Ngati Tara's resumption application. The registration outlines that by signing the registration form, hapu signatories support the actions of the Kareponia Marae Committee and partial resumption of rangiputa to Ngati Tara. I have included a copy of the registration form used at Annex D and my brief of evidence. We made sure with our registration forms that the purpose of registration was made very clear. By Friday 31st of August, we had received 294 registrations forms, and I have been informed that there are still more registration forms coming in all the time. These are all unique registration forms signed by Ngati Tara people over the age of 18. This is a reflection of the support that we have received from our people. I know that for a fact that there are more Ngati Tara out there that support our application, but given the limited time frame we've been working with, and some of our supporters that are unable to formally show their support through registration, but many have voiced their support. We tried to gather as many registrations as we could. A number of the hui hapu were held in Auckland to gather registrations. However, as many of our hapu members live outside of the district and in rural centres and as far away as Australia, it is impractical for us to contact them and obtain all of their signatures and registrations within this tight time frame. Another issue that we were faced was funding. We had limited funding to resource our registration initiatives. Many of our kaumata and other hapu members struggle financially and do not have the means to fund registration initiatives. This has limited the number of registrations that we were able to gather. In conclusion, there is no doubt in my mind that Ngati Tara once held and exercised traditional interest to Puheke. Even Runanga representatives have recognised this. Senior representatives from our hapu such as Ngati Tara and Ngati Johns recognise Ngati Tara's interest in Puheke. We have suffered long-held issues with Runanga and do not believe that we can ever resolve our differences in these circumstances. We do not believe that the Runanga best represents Ngati Tara's treaty claim and settlement interests. Ngati Tara has the capacity to work with the Crown to receive any agreed settlement. We are a cohesive hapu, and because of centrality of Kareponia Marae, our shared whakapapa and our shared commitment to doing what is right for our hapu. Thank you, sir. I'm able to open to receiving questions and comments, sir.
I think you kind of have to, actually.
Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
Kia ora, Mr. Harrison. I only have a few questions for you. In your main document that you swore back in, provided back in 22 August, paragraph 8, you have that?
Yes.
Okay. You talk there about Ngati Tara hapu holding monthly marae committee hui, and that the marae committee elects its members at AGMs and so on. Just wanting to check, do you have a formal structure set up yet?
The Kareponia Marae has a charter, yes.
It has a charter?
Yes.
Is it registered somewhere, or?
We're a registered charitable trust.
You're a registered charitable trust?
Yes.
Okay. When was that registered?
We were registered in 2006.
Okay. Thank you. And your claim is Y2000, is that right?
That's correct.
You'd be aware that the Runanga has never said it represents your claim. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay. And I assume you're happy with that position?
Gravely.
All right. Despite that, are you aware that the Runanga is still happy to continue to leave the door open for Ngati Tara to be involved with the Runanga? Are you aware of that?
No.
Okay. So does that surprise you?
Yes.
Okay. So if members of the Runanga express that themselves, would that be something that you would be interested in?
As a will of good faith, or as in...
As a pathway forward, as I heard from Mr. Bassett this morning.
I think we'll be open to the conversation.
Okay.
With reason, of course.
Well, I'm sure there's reasons, but as long as you're still open to the conversation?
We'll talk to my hapu, and yes, we may be. I couldn't give you a short answer about that.
Sure, I'm putting you on the spot. I realise that. You'd take instructions from your hapu about that.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, sir, I think I'll leave it there.
Mr. Afiaki.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Harrison. Karea no he pātai. Thank you for your evidence.
Ms. Aegis.
No questions, Your Honour.
Mr. Powell. Mr. Shepherd.
No questions, sir.
Mr. Marsden. Crown.
Kia ora, Mr. Harrison. Tēnā rawa te koe mō o kōrero. Thank you very much for your brief this afternoon. You take your decisions from your marae, from your hapu.
Yes, sir.
Surely there must be a leadership in your hapu that would pave the way for the hapu, a way forward, make suggestions.
Yes, sir.
Are you one of those?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, what's the problem? What's the problem that you have with the Runanga? Is it the problem to do with the philosophy, the process, or do you have problems with the personnel?
All of the above.
Well, you see, from where we're sitting, I seem to think, that the philosophy is good, the plan is good, the whole philosophy of going forward as a collective is a good, strong one, and therefore I can only surmise that there might be problems there might be personality clashes.
Sir, interesting question, and I acknowledge your question that
if it's too hard to...
No, sir. I mean, we're from a line of priests, and so what we talk about is tika and pono, and what is tika and what is pono needs to be real for us to follow, and if it isn't, we won't follow.
So you believe that the tikanga by the Runanga is not tikanga pono?
No, I'm not saying that, but I am saying that we don't believe in the leadership. Not only that, we believe that there's been some misleading and also, very very, how can I put it, which is nicely without well, you know, I mean, there's been some things said that isn't actually true, and that hasn't been identified and brought up. But I mean, what I'm talking about is what is tika and what is pono.
All right, so you are talking about personalities. Personalities are not tika. Personalities are not pono, as opposed to the philosophy and the plan and the process.
I guess so, sir. But at the end of the day, if the bigger, wider body is supporting that, then that isn't what we would follow. So that isn't tika and it isn't pono.
Yes. And what I'm getting at is, I think that the process seems to be good. The philosophy is good. And I can only surmise, and you seem to agree with me, that this is a conflict of personalities, of leadership. You have a problem with the leadership of Te Runanga.
To some extent, sir.
To the extent that you want to stay aloof from Te Runanga.
Well, I'm merely a voice of our people, and if the people decide that that's not the way they want to go, and I'm just following that lead and being able to do that at the best of my ability to follow that, to do that. Yeah, I think there may be some personal issues, but at the end of the day, we believe that our interests haven't been fairly heard, and it's throughout our briefs. We don't agree with the leadership. We don't agree with the lack of consultation with us. I can go on, but I mean, I'm merely stating what the people have said.
One of the things that I'm picking up is that the leadership seems to be good. They are leading. Is that happening in your marae, your hapu, Ngati Tara? Because all I'm hearing is you saying, I have to go back to the hapu. I don't have any views of my own. But you are a kai kōrero.
Yep. You're right, sir. And I can actually say that we don't support the Runanga. We've stated it clearly. And it's about us actually saying that we weren't heard, we hadn't been heard. There's been some misjustice done to us that will be difficult for us to mend with the Runanga, because they become very entrenched in our philosophy of what is tika. And that's hard.
All right, but I've isolated it to what is tika and what is not pono, or what is pono in terms of the leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can isolate that, then there might be some way forward.
I think there could be a way forward. However, I think that we as a people have waited a long time. We've watched and seen what's happened, and really there hasn't been any benefit to us. And so we pursue down this path.
You heard the judge give an alternative about Rangiputa.
Yes.
That if there is conflict amongst hapu about in whom Rangiputa should be vested in, then an alternative might be to vest it in the Maori Land Court. In Land Corp. In Land Corp. Well, that's not good.
No. And without disrespect to the tribunal, I guess I'd seek a higher court.
Aye, you have that. You have that alternative, but it doesn't really help the problem, does it? And what I'm getting at, if you can isolate it to one problem as opposed to a huge problem, if you can take from that very big picture what I see as a solvable problem, then I think there might be a way forward. I mean, Mr. Bassett is open to that consideration.
I'd agree with him too, sir.
Thank you. Let me have a look. In paragraph 7 of your brief, you talk about unregistered beneficiaries who can affiliate to Ngati Tara. Also, are invited to Ngati Tara events. These are people from all the hapus of Ngati Kahu?
Yes, sir.
And if there's that consideration by you, then there must be some prospect that might actually affect a wider community than that you have spoken of in paragraph 7.
I'd agree with that, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for your brief, Mr. Harrison. Kia ora.
Chief.
Kia ora, Mr. Harrison. I take it from what you've said that Ngati Tara doesn't disagree with the idea of sharing Rangiputa Station with others.
Without a doubt, ma'am.
But that the problem is that Ngati Tara doesn't feel it's had a say in the decision about that?
That's correct, ma'am.
The actual decision that the Runanga has taken, is that the decision that Ngati Tara would take if it had the chance?
Yeah, I guess so, ma'am. When the minister came and visited us in 2008 after the signing of the AIP, it was, we set out our concerns. We asked the Runanga when the sale of some lands in our rohe was up for sale. We were basically told to go to the minister, so we did. So the minister came back and said we need to go back to negotiate or talk with the Crown. With the Runanga. It seems like we're just going around in circles and not actually getting anywhere, ma'am. We've done the best we possibly could to rectify what's happening here, but there just seems to be some kind of, always seems to be this, they said this, they said that, they said this. Not to mention that my family was personally was put into the paper and slandered over this, and I'll state this again. Ngati Tara did not say that the Harrisons wanted to take Puheke Block on their own. Now the CEO of Ngati Kahu, things like that, these underhanding tactics, I don't know what is that, we're not sure. And we're not happy about it. And we're likely this is not going to be the end of that story. This is incorrect.
I'm just wondering, has there been any formal opportunity for the Runanga and Ngati Tara to talk? Or have the processes available been the Runanga's processes up till now? Has there been any other opportunity for Ngati Tara to discuss matters with the Runanga?
No, ma'am.
Do you think if there was an opportunity provided for that, that would help, a formal opportunity?
Yes, ma'am, within reason.
Kia ora, Mr. Harrison.
I just have a few questions, Mr. Harrison. Just returning to the Rungang, as I understand the structure, there's marae delegates from the 15 marae.
Yes, sir. There's
the opportunity for 2 parapara delegates. you've indicated to Professor Temara that there are problems, including personality problems with the leadership of the Runganga. But in terms of the structure of the Runganga, do you have a difficulty with that?
Sir, I think that our marae has had problems with that, concerns, because we haven't had a delegate on there for some years.
Yes,
and only just as of recently we've put I would not say a delegate, because they were just elected to observe and report back to the marae on the businesses of the Runganga. I wouldn't actually say they were actually delegates elected. I'd say they were observers to go to the meetings and feedback to our hapu about what is happening at the Runganga.
But can I just come back to that? What I'm talking about is the structure of the Runganga, how it looks. There's an opportunity there for Ngati Tara to have 2 delegates on the Runganga. So, I mean, the fact that you may be sending observers is a different point, if you follow me. Yeah. I'm asking you, is there a problem with the legal structure, how it looks, and the opportunity for your marae to be represented on there?
Oh, no, sir. We're in the position of like every other marae.
Okay. So turning back to the position of the observers or delegates, you've got 2 observers, that's Mr. Yates and Mr. Priestley?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And they are nominated by the marae committee, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I did ask Mr. Harrison these questions. I'll double check with you. Do they exercise voting rights, as far as you know, when they attend the Runganga meetings?
No, sir.
Okay. No, they don't?
No, they don't, sir.
Okay. So they, as far as you're concerned, they simply observe and report back?
Yes, sir.
You answered a question by Mr. Williams that the marae has a registered charitable trust, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and the charter, that's a marae charter that's been developed, is it?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have marae trustees who've been appointed by the Māori Land Court, marae reservation trustees?
That's correct, sir.
Is that your marae committee?
Yes. No, sorry. We have a board of trustees.
Okay. So you have the marae trustees?
Yes.
Right. Are you a marae trustee?
Oh, sir, I'm not a marae trustee.
Okay. So you're the chairperson of the marae committee?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Which has some relationship with the marae trustees?
Ultimately, we are accountable to the marae trustees, yes.
Mm-hmm. Are any of the witnesses who are giving evidence for Ngati Tara in this hearing marae trustees?
Oh, sorry, sir, could you repeat that?
Are any of the witnesses who are going to be giving evidence for Ngati Tara marae trustees?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Harrison. Those are the questions I had. Mr. Naden, any re-examination?
Yes, sir, just one question. I was wanting to ask Mr. Harrison, there were purported delegates who signed for the release of or the receipt of fisheries-related quota monies, and what's your view on why they signed for that?
I just paused. Was that a question asked in cross-examination? No. So I don't think you can go there, Mr. Naden.
So why I thought it might be appropriate, sir, is because it's a question that concerns the rights and powers of delegates or purported delegates to the, and there were certainly questions about those officers of the.
Well, it's not a question that's arisen in cross-examination or by any members of the panel, but I'll just double-check with counsel. You got an objection to this question, Mr. Williams?
Not particularly, sir.
Okay. Mr. Naden? Yep.
So, Mr. Harrison, could you explain to us your view on why those fisheries monies were signed for?
The fisheries money for the marae is probably the only. Our marae runs at a deficit every year, so we depend on those fisheries money, and so we need that fisheries money, and so If anything, we have only contact with the Runanga through the fisheries because we need that money to ensure that our marae stay open and is able to function.
Is there any other means by which the Marae Committee is able to access funds through the Runanga or any other organisation?
Not that I know of, unless we become an entity like the Runanga. I'm not sure. I'm clear about how that process is, but no, there isn't that I know of.
Thank you, sir. That was all.